And will Magnus, he still has the opportunity to get 11 out of 11. So that must be something that motivates him when there's only 3 rounds left. And here we see the two of them are ready for this battle. It's very important for Firouzja to win. If he wants to win the tournament, he needs to catch up to Magnus and equalize their amount of points.
Okay, and we start with a transposition into the Catalan opening. This is a branch of the Queen's Gambit declined. And Magnus brings his bishop out to a very active square. This is trendy stuff. All the top players play the Catalan opening these days. It was popularized in the 90s, early 2000s by the likes of Boris Gelfand. Now everyone plays it, including Magnus with the white pieces. So it's known as a positional opening. Firouzja normally a bit more aggressive. Interesting that he swaps sides here and plays this opening with white. He's going to try and build a big pawn center. Magnus is going to try and fight against that by bringing out his knight, centralizing his rook, and maybe striking and challenging black in the middle of the board. This is going to be feisty. This is going to be a lot of fun. Still all pieces on the board.
And Firouzja has played very quickly in this opening. And he seems to be very confident as well.
Yeah, he's confident, I think, by nature. Alireza always has been. He grew up learning chess pretty much just by playing online. And you can see that in his style. You can see it in his preferences. He's looking away. I wonder whether he's streaming as well. And there we go. He takes the black bishop off the board. So black gets a nice pawn structure, but white gets the bishop pair. There's a bit of a trade-off here. Black's going to stare down at these hanging central pawns with his rook, maybe with his queen. I think Magnus will like this position. Slightly better even on the bar. I didn't even see that. I just thought, okay, weak pawn. And Magnus is going for it now.
Let's see what Alireza says about this.
Maybe I want to put it on YouTube, then it's a lot of mess to work around.
Okay, Alireza, you need to be concentrated about your position because Magnus is slightly better according to the eval bar. He's threatening a pawn. And Alireza, he's yawning. He's talking about some kind of YouTube stream. What is he doing? He needs to be focused.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I struggle to multitask. Whenever I stream, I can't play chess. Whenever I play chess, I can't stream. It's Alireza looking away. Yeah, he has to be really careful. He dodges the tension on that line, but queen takes pawn now would drop this pawn to the white bishop. Maybe still desirable for Magnus Carlsen, but there are weak pawns all over the place. And Firouzja does need to perk up, does need to wake up before it's too late, before Magnus gets a bigger advantage. Queen takes pawn was played, his queen is hit, and Magnus will now likely move to the edge of the board.
And it looks like Magnus is quite comfortable. That's at least how I'm interpreting his kind of chill way, and the fact that he's talking when it's not even his turn means that he has a lot to discuss here, but he's making his moves quickly and centralizing some of his pieces now.
Yeah, that's a great move there. The bishop in the center is well in control of half of the board. The black knight might also enter the center in the near future. White has the bishop pair, but this light squared bishop is very much neutralized by its counterpart in the middle of the board. And Magnus has the 2 versus 1 pawn advantage on this side. This pawn for white is isolated as well. So we'll see. Long-term black is doing great. Short-term white should be okay. Just has to be quite quick to guard the black knight coming forward. Magnus a little bit up on time.
Especially against me. Okay.
All we heard was especially against me. Magnus is very aware that he is the best player in the world. And he had some comment to Firouzja there. Oh, and Firouzja actually tries to go for a queen trade, which we've seen many people kind of lose because of earlier in this title Tuesday. But it's actually Magnus who decides, nope, we're keeping the queens on the board.
Yeah, maybe that's what he was saying. That's brave to try and go into an endgame, especially against me. Like positions that are playable for others. Like if Firouzja's playing me, swapping the queens is probably a good idea. If he's playing against Magnus, maybe it's a terrible idea. The top players, they play the best moves, or they try to, but they also try and play moves that the opponents find uncomfortable. So very interesting insight into Magnus's mind. The white bishop, we've seen so many bishops sitting on this square in the round today. It's a really bad piece, but it's out of harm's way for now. And Magnus is going to start jumping with his knights towards the other flank. Whoa, look at these weird bishops. It's as if they forgot to develop. It's as if he's playing freestyle chess here.
It's the worst bishop pair I've ever seen.
Big statement.
Twins.
I agree. Oh, those poor twins. They can't get out.
And look at all of Magnus' pieces in comparison. They're in the middle of the board. They have places to go. And he has an extra pawn on the left side of the board, which maybe he can use to potentially create some passed pawn. It feels like Magnus has a lot of different ideas he can use here, while Firouzja kind of has to respond to those ideas.
Yeah.
And that's never the most fun way to play.
And there we go. There was a knight trade. I'm very surprised Magnus allowed that trade on White's terms. And although White does have doubled pawns now, that's a very important tempo that Firouzja gets to develop his bishops. I'm expecting him to push this pawn forward in the near future, and White's dart squared bishop might actually come to life on the longish diagonal here. And there we go. He does push his pawn forward. This is a very nice move to protect the white king as well on the diagonal. And suddenly, Magnus, look at that face, doesn't look so happy anymore.
Decided. That's annoying. Like, this knight is... Sorry, not this knight, but this mouse is so sensitive.
Did he do a mouse slip? Is that what he was just admitting? That's so annoying. The mouse is so sensitive.
Maybe. He also kind of did a Freudian slip, right? He said the knight, because the knight wasn't great either.
Yeah.
The knight was misplaced. So maybe not enjoying the fact that this knight is about to get kicked away by White's pawn, but also annoyed about the mouse. It's important at this level. And there we go. The black queen moves, and Magnus has blundered. Magnus has let things slip. What is the punishing move?
Very serious trouble here.
Big trouble. The pawn is hit. The knight is hit. What can Magnus do?
Yeah, I've gotten outplayed. It's as simple as that.
I've gotten outplayed. It's as simple as that. What a resigned Magnus we suddenly see. He was doing so well. What happened here?
Yeah, he just lost control. He got a bit tilted, a bit triggered about the mouse situation and about the knight situation. If he goes back with his knight, which is the only safe square for that piece, then the white queen is going to come up 2 squares, offer a queen trade, and it's going to be very difficult for black to hold the balance there. Firouzja looks so locked in. It feels like a lifetime ago that Firouzja was looking off to the side, talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
Now look at him. He senses
It's time to concentrate, he says. he locks in.
He smells blood. Magnus has given up a knight in the meantime. He's got a couple of pawns in return, but they're so far away from marching. It's more about the white king, potentially vulnerable on the back rank.
And Magnus also has gone quiet now. He's kind of concentrating. Less than a minute left.
Ooh, he's desperately trying to force a draw now, Magnus, but that will not be agreed to. Winning position for Alireza Firouzja. Magnus's pieces just don't coordinate. The black rook is so passive, and black's pawns are not anywhere at all. All it will take at some point is for the white queen to go and kick away the black rook from the blockade. Oh, but apparently lets it slip. Alireza Firouzja, he went too fast with his pawn. He put it on a vulnerable square. And now, can Magnus save himself by taking this pawn off the board? He does. He's back in the game.
Oh. And Niemann has gotten a comeback, so he has 8 points now. Could catch up to Magnus if Magnus loses. Magnus is still not totally in the clear. Firouzja still has an extra bishop. They're both down to a minute left on the clock. Wow. 7.5 points, I mean, to Niemann.
Yeah, and still a crazy position where anything can happen, especially with the clock situation. Magnus has 2 pawns for the bishop right now, so he's down on material, but the white king is also open. The white pawn in the center is isolated and vulnerable. Magnus is saying, you can repeat, you can draw if you want. I don't care about my 100% anymore. I just want to survive in this game. And moment of truth, will Alireza continue checking? Nope, he brings his queen up. But be careful, Alireza, you're 10 seconds down and counting.
But he's so good in these final seconds. Do you think he's better than Magnus, even with this clock situation?
I think normally, but it's such an easy position to play with black, right? You just give checks, and look, black's better already. He's starting to pick off the white pawns. Firouzja wincing there. He's getting checked all over the place, and Magnus now has 3 pawns for the bishop. He's no longer material down. Firouzja needs to get out of here. Magnus, is he going to play? No, he doesn't take the draw. He doesn't repeat. He's playing for the win.
The day. Queen f3.
Wants to get his queen to the square. He's trying to bring it in.
4. Yeah, but I'm never getting mated here, am I?
Bold statement from Magnus.
Bold statement. He says that he's never going to be checkmated, and he keeps playing, trades off some pawns. Now it's Magnus who has some passed pawns that he can try to get to the other side of the board. Ooh. 4 pawns against the bishop.
Wow, Magnus is a huge favorite now. He just needs to get the queens off, and the 4 pawns will overwhelm the bishop. A bishop can stop 2 or 3, but not all 4. And look at this, Magnus has got the queens off. He just needs to push them all in tandem, not to rush forward. Use the king. Magnus Carlsen is going to win this game surely now. He leans back. He's very confident. He's pushing those pawns. The white bishop nowhere near. Magnus just needs to push. He's making a new queen. He's going to be on 9 out of 9. Firouzja down at 4 seconds. A queen appears. Checkmate guaranteed. Magnus wins.
The difference with the EWC is that there I was usually doing well on the board as well, but here I was actually lost, I think.